college football podcast for everyone and everyone else. I'm your host, John Buhler, lead writer for Fansided. I'm joined today by a man who dresses himself every day, likes to call himself Frankenstein, and thinks 30 packets of ketchup is a worthy meal for a growing man. Cody Williams, content director, Fansided.com. It's the big daddy of this program. How are you?
When did McDonald's stop serving breakfast at 11 a.m., man? What's happening?
I had it all in my head. I completely blanked on that. But yeah, what a revelation that is. And
Right.
if you don't want to give your local McDonald's a 5-star review, please give us one. It'd be great.
Yes, give us, and you know what? If you're not going to give your money to McDonald's because they're not serving breakfast, donate on Buzzsprout. That's really,
Absolutely.
yeah, always what it comes down to.
Yeah, just go to like onto the YouTube page. It's there. And you'll
So,
you'll you'll figure it out. Give us an eggplant emoji or a biscuit or something good.
I could go for a biscuit. It's been a minute. I haven't been in the Southeast in a minute.
Yeah, I know. People down here are like loving their bagels. I'm like, can we just stop and just eat biscuits, man?
That's like gentrification of the South.
Yeah, they put like bagel stores next to Asian restaurants, next to bagel stores, next to Asian restaurants. It's called the Beltline.
Hey,
Yeah,
beautiful place to take a walk. I'll tell you.
I'll tell you that much. Yeah, we watched Big Daddy on Friday.
Hell yeah, dude, Big Daddy's so good. I mean, honestly, like a devastatingly sad movie, but very funny throughout the process.
I went into this trying to figure out which one's Cole, which one's Dylan Sprouse, and I couldn't figure it out.
When they were young, they were like true identical twins. Like no idea which one's which.
No, but one of them said, "I wet my bed."
Kangaroo song, kangaroo song.
Uh, that John Stewart loved him some Hooters, man.
That's right. The face that he makes in that movie whenever he's in the courtroom and they're like, and he like realizes who the mother of the kid is, and he's like, uh-oh. And that it kills me every single time.
But the other part that just destroys me is obviously Alan Covert and Peter Dante are together. They were all law students at Syracuse apparently, and
Yeah.
they're talking about the kid. The kid's smart. He's wicked smart, and he likes ketchup.
That's right, big ketchup.
Uh, but yeah, we got some fun stuff coming down the pipeline. We may have a Zoolander themed episode. We're gonna have a brain rot episode. We're gonna
Mhm.
have a Billy Madison episode, and then Cody's gonna be in Norway, in the land of the Vikings.
The Vikings, Norwegian Forest Cats, Victor Hovland, things of that nature.
Yeah, the land of like what Matson from like Succession's gonna be great.
There we go. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, we've obviously false started here. So let's get rolling with our first and 15 today with we are doing a simulation.
Hmm.
There's been rumors that it's starting to get closer and closer to a 24-team college football playoff. We're going to have 76 in men's and women's basketball, which is so stupid, but that's okay.
I mean, on one hand, like I'm not going to complain about getting more basketball. Like I like college basketball. I like the NCAA tournament. But like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. There's no reason for this other than trying to get a couple extra windows of TV in.
Yeah, apparently it's all about like liquor advertising because they want to push more swill that's Bud Light, and it's like so we can watch what 15 and 14 Auburn play what 19 and 17 Indiana,
It's so dumb. It's very, very dumb.
and BYU just is not ready for this.
No, not even a little bit.
No, so the way that this is going to work with the 2014 playoff is CBS Sports put a good article explaining what it was. The top 8 seeds will get a bye to the first round, and then seeds 9 through 24 will play each other. Like 9 plays 24, 10, 23, 11, 22, and so on. So I'll read off the bracket real quick because this is stupid, and then we'll get going and we'll see if we can pick a new champion in
That's
college
right.
football. It's not going to happen. Indiana's going to win, but it's going to be fun getting there.
The ride to get to Indiana being national champion is going to be fun. So just stick around for that.
Okay, so our top 8 seeds from last year do not change. Indiana 1, Ohio State 2, Georgia 3, Texas Tech 4, Oregon 5, Ole Miss 6, Texas A&M, Oklahoma 7. That's the line of demarcation. Alabama's your 9 seed. They would be
Mhm.
hosting number 24 James Madison, who was 11 last year, but they would have been 24 in this.
Hmm. Yep.
Miami at 10 would be hosting number 23 Iowa. Notre Dame at 11, hosting number 22 Georgia Tech.
Hmm.
12 BYU hosting 21 Houston in a game full of Cougars. Meow. 13 Texas hosting number 20 Tulane. 14 Vanderbilt hosting 19 Virginia. 15 Utah versus 18 Michigan. And then 16 USC versus Arizona. I guess before we kind of get into this, like, is there anybody, like, if you had to pick two underseeded teams to pull off an upset in this format, like, who are you liking and why?
So I do want to say before I talk about the upsets, I do wonder if seeding would change if we're talking about this because you have two ACC teams in this bracket and neither of them or no, excuse me, three and neither are the ACC champion or none of them are the
Right.
ACC champion. So like I do wonder if maybe Duke takes Georgia Tech's spot in this scenario, just by how they're going to rank it. But regardless of that, if I'm looking at two teams that could pull off an upset, I think the first one's Michigan. I just think that you're talking about a different level of athlete than Utah would have been able to see. And like, I'm not sure that Michigan's a world beater. I'm not sure they're going on a run, but do I think that they can go on the road and beat Utah? Yeah, I do think that that could have happened. The other one I would kind of look at, I wonder, I wonder if Iowa would give Miami some trouble. I'm a little
Th-
curious about it.
those are two that I was thinking about. The Michigan Utah thing, obviously, with the Kyle Whittingham of it
Yeah.
all,
Looks a lot more interesting now, like in hindsight.
you kind of wonder if the Sharon Moore scandal would have come out then. That would have been
True.
just,
Very
you know,
true.
you know, Miami could lose to anybody, and that's again that's. I think there's a chance Georgia Tech could get Notre Dame,
100%. Yeah, I think Notre Dame was very flawed.
and I think Virginia beats Vanderbilt straight up.
I I think that'd be a good game. I think it's either a game where Virginia wins by three scores or Vanderbilt wins. And I don't think there's like any close game, like close Virginia win. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, it's kind of I'm like, okay, Virginia barely loses the ACC championship, and then Vanderbilt's like, oh, we beat Tennessee, and there's going to
Right.
be some sort of momentum thing there. But it's gonna be wild. So let's pick some games here. So
Yeah.
okay, our one seed Indiana is going to play the winner of number 16 USC versus number 17 Arizona. Frankly, I don't think it matters. I think Arizona gives them a better game because they've got nothing to lose, whereas USC, shockingly, I think with Lincoln Riley would somehow overlook Indiana.
Oh, 100%. They'd succumb to the pressure. Like I think USC would probably beat Arizona. I think you would get up for that first round game and then think, oh, US like there would just be a Lincoln Riley like front runner mentality and then you would lose to Indiana. So like that's how I would see that playing out.
It's his first playoff win. Congratulations.
Followed by probably his worst playoff loss after
Um,
that, but
yeah, he's just snot's coming out of his ears.
that's all right.
Number two, Ohio State would be hosting the winner of number 15 Utah versus number 18 Michigan. I think you can make an argument for either of those teams winning that game. I would still probably lean Utah, just
Yeah.
but neither of them are beating Ohio State. And
Yeah.
more importantly, I don't think Michigan's going to want to imagine Michigan having to go back and play in the horseshoe again. It's just make it stop.
I mean, and talk about a look ahead spot. Like, if you have like the prospect of potentially going to get like a chance to exact revenge at Ohio State, I have no doubt that, especially with everything that was going on with Sharon Moore behind the scenes, that they're definitely pissing down their leg in that game.
100%. Three, Georgia versus 14, Vanderbilt or 19, Virginia. I don't think it's particularly close. I think Vanderbilt would keep it closer
Yeah.
than Virginia, but Georgia still probably wins by three scores.
Oh yeah, that's Georgia's advancing over either of those. I don't see either of those pulling off anything off beyond this game.
And this is where it gets interesting. For Texas Tech versus the winner of number 13, Texas versus number 22 Lane. I'm going to say it. Texas is winning that game, dude.
100%, brother. Arch Manning was playing really good football at the end of last season, and so was Texas.
And Baron Morton was not.
He certainly was not. He forgot how to
So
play football.
yeah, that's the big one here. Number 5, Oregon is going to play the winner of number 12 BYU versus number 21 Houston. I would take BYU here. I don't think
Mhm.
BYU beats Oregon.
No, I think BYU gives Oregon a game. But
Yeah.
I think it's a hard fought game. I don't think Oregon runs away with it, but I do think Oregon's offense can get to a level that BYU can't reach.
All right. Number 6, Ole Miss versus the winner of number 11 Notre Dame, number 22 Georgia Tech. It could go either way. whoever to get there, they're not beating Ole Miss.
No, so I honestly think Georgia Tech might have a better chance of beating Ole Miss just because they run under Buster Faulkner, they ran such a unique offense. And so like I think that could catch Ole Miss like sleeping a little bit because that's not really an offense that they've had to prepare for. They've seen 10 offenses like Notre Dame's. Like there's nothing special about what we're doing here.
All right, but the Rebels certainly prevail here.
Yeah.
Texas A&M hosting the winner of number 10 Miami versus 23 Iowa. Look, we saw that game,
Hmm.
and I don't think having like the fact that like Texas A&M is gets a bye with the Miami buzzsaw, I don't think that they can stop them. I think it's a bigger loss than it was.
No, 100%. I completely agree with you. Like I think Miami knows what would be able to just keep things rolling if they got past Iowa.
And in a very similar boat, Oklahoma hosting the winner of number 9 Alabama versus number 24 James Madison. I think Alabama wins considerably.
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
for the same thought process.
we saw them outplay. They were a better team than Oklahoma, and that's someone who did not believe in Alabama, but like they were a better team than Oklahoma.
All right, this is going to get fun because we're seeing three games that already happened, and maybe this will change. I don't think it does with the first one. Indiana versus number 9 Alabama in the Rose Bowl. I think maybe Alabama makes it slightly closer, but I still think Indiana wins by
A
like
lot.
Fernandez doesn't play a snap in the fourth quarter, dude.
Yeah, I mean, Alberto still plays. Like we're still getting both Mendoza brothers in this game.
Now these next two games gets very interesting because Ohio State and Georgia will have played a game at home to warm up for this.
Hmm.
So maybe the chances of them getting upset does not happen. But I don't know. I want to hear what your thoughts are with Ohio State playing Miami in the Cotton Bowl on New Year's Eve.
I would still probably lean Miami just barely because and like it's honestly it's I know it's partially because we've already seen how the game played out, but like Ohio State's offensive line was not ready for Miami. And I don't think whether or not you played a game the week before or not is going to change that. Like I think that Miami's defensive line still gives them the advantage to get past Ohio State.
I would probably lean that direction too. I think that Miami is just a played looser than Ohio State did.
100%.
And we arrive at my game. Does it go differently? I think it might potentially.
I think it absolutely could. I think if Georgia basically just keeps things rolling since the SEC championship and they're just still playing football, like I think they're like I think you can get past that game. I think you're in a little bit more of a rhythm. God, I could totally blanked on the word rhythm there. But yeah, like you get into a little more of a rhythm and like Georgia's a team that like really thrived on rhythm with how they were playing offense.
And I think for the sake of this exercise, let's just say Georgia advances to kind of prove this point. Like some team that we didn't have momentum now has momentum and keeps
Hmm.
it going.
Yeah,
Whereas like Texas Tech gets clipped because they didn't have it in this time.
not even a little bit, dude.
No. So Georgia prevails. And then Oregon is going to be playing Texas in what the Orange Bowl. I would still probably take Oregon here, I think, but it could go either way. If you've got other thoughts, let me know.
No, I was gonna say this is a battle of who wants it less. Like, I mean, these are two teams that we do not trust in the college football playoff when it really comes down to it, based on what we've seen. So I'm okay with going with Oregon since they did advance and this and like Texas obviously didn't even get to this point. They didn't get to this point last year. So like, yeah, I'll take Oregon advancing.
All right. So all right, we're getting on to our semifinals. We got Indiana versus Oregon in the Peach Bowl. We saw how that went. That did not go well for Oregon at all.
Dan Lanny's gonna need to show me he knows how to handle a rematch before I pick him in a rematch.
And then our Fiesta Bowl is going to be number 3 Georgia versus number 10 Miami.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. That is very interesting. The game that we all thought we were going to get, we didn't get.
The Carson Beck Bowl, as one calls it. I still think it's Miami. Like I think Miami was just running so hot. And like I understand Georgia, like I just said, if Georgia had a chance to build more momentum, maybe we saw something different. But like Miami's biggest like Miami was underseeded because they weren't running hot during the regular season. When they started running hot, we saw how good they were. Like they gave Indiana as good a game as anyone. Like I know Indiana ended up prevailing, but like Miami gave them as good a game as anyone did the entire season. Like they didn't just like stop rolling by the time they got to the national championship.
I think Georgia would have had a miserable time trying to contain Mark Fletcher Jr. in this
Hmm.
game. And then also, like, we're not going to make somebody like 2 wins better than what they were. It's like, this is just marginal. Okay, maybe you're like 1 win better. Like,
Yeah.
Georgia, congratulations, you sweep Ole Miss. You lose to Miami here. Honestly, it wouldn't have mattered if it would have been Georgia or Miami. Indiana was going to win the whole thing.
Right, 100%. And like I also in like the Georgia Miami matchup, like I know Monroe Freeling is a very highly drafted player, 19th overall, and he like came along really well as the year went on. Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor would eat his lunch. Like
Yeah.
there's no question about it. Like Stockton would have been running for his life a lot in that game.
That's very much in play. I think Shane Dawson would have been able to carve up something very delicious there on Glenn Schumann. So yeah.
There's never been a more chess versus checkers matchup than those two. God almighty.
Ireland, man, that's the Fibonacci sequence versus Go Fish.
That's right, 100%. I got no sevens for you.
No, dude. So we did this. It's still going to be Indiana over Miami, but I thought this was fun. It showed there's enough wrinkles in here where I think it could shake and change the entire thing. Not as much as we thought, but enough to make it even more interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, we didn't see any of these games, and like God knows in college football, stuff happens all the time that we don't expect. So like this is what we would expect to happen, but like expectations get thrown by the wayside quite a bit.
100%. That's exactly the same sort of thing with NIL. And on that note, where's the money, Lebowski?
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
Nick Saban had a quote. I think he was on Feinbaum earlier this week, and I'm not going to pull it up. I'm just going to paraphrase it. He's like, "All right, listen up, y'all. We need to have a salary cap there in the SEC. A&M's paying people way too much money. We need Georgia and Alabama to kind of get back into the thing of this, the thick of things. We need equity and fairness across all the sports and everything like that." So it does seem as though like in time there will be a salary cap.
Hmm.
It's got to be a hard salary cap like the NFL, because if it's a soft one like the NBA, it's just gonna it's just gonna be nonsense.
No, 100%. Like if you're asking boosters to pay a luxury tax, they do not care. Like if they're
No.
already investing to the level that they are, they do not care. Um, I wonder if it would work because, like, the idea behind a salary cap would be to try to continue to create more parity, which I think NIL and the transfer portal already have accomplished in a lot of ways. But like, you're trying to create more parity, but you're gonna end like I know this is weird to say, but like because it's a sport that currently does not have a salary cap, but you're gonna end up with baseball. You're gonna end up with teams that don't spend or programs that just don't spend and don't ever come close to the salary cap. So it's going to be irrelevant. All it's going to do is just hinder the top of the sports where you have more parity. And again, I already think that we're at a point where the top of the sport, we're seeing increased parity already without a salary cap. So like what it's trying to accomplish, I don't really know what like the end game of it would be.
The teams that are historically good, the teams that do well recruiting in high school, that aren't necessarily the biggest spenders. We're talking Alabama and Georgia for the most part now.
Yeah.
They'll prevail. The ones who are like the portal kings, the new monies of it all, like they'll pull back a little bit, but it's
Mhm.
not going to affect everybody. I think one team that this, I mean, A&M will figure it out.
Yeah.
I think this hurts programs like Nebraska and Tennessee the most.
Oh yeah, 100%. The historic programs that haven't necessarily put it all together in recent years. Like they've had good seasons, don't get me wrong. Like Nebraska going to a bowl game, Tennessee making the playoff. Like they've had good seasons, but like you haven't put it like the expectations among those fan bases, whether they're realistic or not, are to like compete for national championships. That's what they want. They've seen it. A lot of fans have seen that in their lifetime from these programs. But now we're in an era where brand and being like, kind of the notoriety and stuff like that. Also, maybe just not wanting to live in Knoxville, Tennessee or Lincoln, Nebraska are things that these recruits are considering in addition to NIL. And so, like, if there is a salary cap and you have programs which, Tennessee and Nebraska aren't hurting for NIL dollars, but no shot. But like, if it's all things are more equal, like, everyone is offering you $4 million, Tennessee and Nebraska are going to fall by the wayside in that.
It also hurts other programs that, excuse me, that like have had really strong brands that have taken like a beating. I would also throw programs in there like Pitt and Virginia Tech that have
Hmm.
been relevant generations ago. Not so much now. Maybe it'll change under like James Franklin and things like that. But like the Ole Misses of the world, they'll still kind of figure it out. They'll pull back a
Yeah.
little bit. A&M will pull back a little bit. It'll kind of be a little bit more of like the BCS era of college football. But you're absolutely right, though. The floor not having one, like there's going to be teams out there like You think Cal's gonna spend money?
No, no, I don't. I do not. Boston College, not probably might not cross like the $1 million threshold. And like one like positive I could see from a salary cap though, but as you talk about the portal, like this kind of like opened this thought, like this door to thought to me. But like I was sitting there thinking, and I'm like, one specific area where I think it could like help change things a little bit is quarterback movement because you're not going to see a Miami go out and be willing to just recklessly spend $4 to $8 million every year on a transfer portal quarterback. If the cap's even set at like 20 million, like you're talking about 40% of your budget if you're spending 8 million. You're talking about 20% of your entire NLL budget or under the cap or salary cap, I guess is the right term to use here. But you're talking about 20% of that budget on one position player for 1 year. And like if that is the case, like I think we maybe see some more development at that position and like guys staying home as opposed to just like looking for the top bidder after every season.
That's a fantastic point. The NFL, you don't see your best quarterbacks like switch teams. If they do, they're varying levels of damaged goods. Or
Yeah.
they're play or you know, they're a former fourth round pick like Kirk Cousins, or my labrum doesn't work anymore, like I'm Drew Brees, or I'm doing a lot of ayahuasca like I'm Aaron Rodgers. Like
Or
these,
you played for the Browns and you're Baker Mayfield.
yes. But people like in their prime, like Dak Prescott, Matt Ryan, like they're not going to another franchise.
No.
Like Josh Allen's never going to become available.
No.
Lamar Jackson could because he represents himself, and God knows what happens with that. But
Right.
like, if you're CJ Stroud or better, like that's you're not going to hit the market.
100%. Like Bryce Young is probably not going to hit the market. Like Bryce Young's been good enough. He got the Panthers to the playoffs and now has more help around him. Like Bryce Young's probably not hitting the market, and like that's not a particularly high bar.
No, it's like the Derek Carr line. Are you as good as Derek Carr? You should get paid top dollar. And it's
Exactly.
this that would be good for the sport in terms of like because people are impressionable. These are kids. If you've got people changing, like quarterbacks changing constantly, you're going living that sweet TJ Finley life.
That's right. Just looking for another patch on the Letterman's jacket.
I know, man. It's all about treat my helmet like my body like a briefcase.
That's right.
You gonna pack
Treat
those?
my body like I'm a college freshman's laptop.
Man, life's about being an Algene bottle.
That's right, 100%.
But I do think we will get some sort of thing here. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be a salary cap or maybe a salary floor. That seems what's going to happen with baseball.
Yeah, like I do think that like Nick Saban isn't like fishing in the wrong pond here. Like there needs to be some sort of guardrails. Honestly, what I think would be interesting is potentially like not like a program salary cap, but like more of a defined structure for like what you're paying positionally, like there is in the NFL, like something similar to like the franchise tag, how those values kind of set the market to some degree. Like I think that college football and NIL would benefit from something like that. And you're kind of putting a cap on like what you can pay a quarterback, what you can pay an offensive lineman. So you don't have programs in here just coming out and like basically getting into it bidding more. Like you're giving the player some agency in this beyond who's offering me the most money.
Yeah, some guy who's we don't need to be giving somebody 2010 Sam Bradford St. Louis Rams money.
Right, 100%. Yeah. There's a reason the rookie pay scale exists.
He sucks so bad they moved, and
That's
no
right.
one's no one's seen him since.
He's looking bewildered wherever he is. I know that.
He's probably living in a ditch somewhere, smoking poo or something like that one guy.
Hey, who doesn't?
I
It
don't
it
know.
happens to the best of us.
It's all about finding yourself. And on that note, that's my quarterback
Yes,
slash
sir.
Goldilocks. I don't know if Sam Bradford has Goldilocks, but he definitely had some locks here. And so does JD McKell.
Hmm.
He made a list, a chaotic one. Basically, his top 11 quarterbacks post spring. I've ranked them all. I've got four in one category, four in another, and then three in another. But like, I'm gonna go through this, and we're gonna say like, we can just talk about where they are. I don't know. We have to go through every single one of them. He's got Dante Moore number one, Trinidad Chambliss two, Darian Mensah three, which is wild,
Hmm.
Julian Sayin four, Arch Manning five, CJ Carr six, Gunnar Stockton seven, Josh Hoover eight, Jaden Mayava nine, John Mateer 10, and then Sam Levitt was his honorable mention for this exercise. We'll give him a very Spinal Tap 11.
That's right. Um, I mean, I think we got to start with Darian Mensah being the third best quarterback in college football. I think Darian Mensah is a very good player. Too hot. We're too hot, brother. What are we doing here?
Yeah, that's like branding cattle hot right here, man.
Yeah. Like you need like multiple oven mitts to cool yourself.
Is he a top 10 quarterback?
I think so. I think he deserves to be on this list, but like I don't think I probably wouldn't have him in the top five.
I think the highest you could absolutely put him is maybe 7.
Yeah, like I think we're talking in that like 6 to 8 range for Mensa for me.
Hmm. I think for me it's inflated, man. Like
Hmm.
he was good at Tulane, he was pretty good at Duke, and now he's at Miami. He's been elevated here. Yes, he did win his conference, which I think matters. Played in some meaningful games,
Hmm.
played for some good head coaches. But I think everybody else on this list pretty much accomplished more than him in terms of like, maybe not like the team wins, but like what have you done individually? I think he comes up short for pretty much everybody.
No, I completely agree with that, dude. And like, there's a difference between talking about the top 10 college football quarterbacks going into the 2026 season and like forecasting the 2027 NFL draft. Like, I have Mensa as a potential first round pick in the first round draft because I expect that he is going to take steps forward. He is going to benefit from playing with the likes of Mark Fletcher and Malachi Tony and get things of that nature. Playing at Miami instead of Duke and playing on ESPN instead of ESPNU. Like, I think he is going to benefit from all of these things. But going into the season, that doesn't make him the third best quarterback in college football.
It's all about the U, not about ESPNU or the
That's
C
right.
or the CW, which is two U's connected and one on side.
That's right. Just different. Everything's just different variations of you.
All right. Who else do you feel too hot on?
CJ Carr for me
Me too.
is, and like, again, I think CJ Carr played his role very well last year. I think CJ Carr showed a lot to me. But again, this goes back to the same point that we talked about way earlier in the offseason, talking about early Heisman odds. Like, I've not seen that yet from CJ Carr. And if you're expecting a leap, that's great. And like, I'm not rooting against the kid by any stretch of the imagination. Seems like I think he's a fine quarterback. I just haven't seen anything from him where I'm like, okay, you deserve to be ahead of Gunnar Stockton. You deserve to be ahead of Jaden Mayava. You deserve to be ahead of even Sam Levitt at this point. Like they have all accomplished more than CJ Carr at this point.
Yeah, he's too hot here. How I'm going to view CJ Carr this year is how I viewed Arch Manning last year. I think, and I know there's talent there. I know there's pedigree, but I got to see it happen.
Mhm.
I think he kind of won a lot of games in anonymity a year ago. That was mostly Jeremiah Love and
Jadarian Price, like
Jadarian Price,
you
and
had the
just
two highest drafted running backs in your offense, and you're expecting me to believe in the quarterback. Like that doesn't really work that way.
like I'll have him in my top 10. I don't really know necessarily where that is, but that was one that I was too high on. I also think Josh Hoover is too high, and I think John Mateer's way too high.
You'll notice that I didn't mention those players when I was listing out the ones that I think are better than CJ Carr. That was intentional on my part.
Let's start with John Mateer. He's just way too reckless. I love to see his handwork, which would be great, but like
I hear it's
he's
beneficial to the position. It's just what they tell me.
maybe he and Ben Arbuckle will grow up a lot since dinner, but there's still a lot of pressure on Oklahoma. We've looked at their schedule; it's incredibly hard. We know the defense is going to be good under Brent Venables, but like if they don't take a step forward, there's a slightly better version of Auburn.
No, I like there. I think one of the things I struggle with John Mateer is I truly enjoy watching him from an entertainment perspective, and it's probably because I'm not an Oklahoma fan and like
Yes,
I have no dog in the fight. But like it is reckless. It's like pure chaos playing quarterback, and like as a viewer, I'm like hell yeah. Like I don't know what's gonna happen play to play, but like. I understand, like, if we're talking about best, yeah, he's like, he does not deserve to be in the top 11, in my opinion.
and as for Josh Hoover,
I mean,
I'm a,
this feels like a lesser version of Mensah at Miami, honestly. It feels like he's going to Indiana.
Sonny Dykes was not sad to see him go. They get the guy, I think
Yeah.
Craig from Harvard, who's accurate. Look, has Josh Hoover played in a game of consequence ever? In the 3 years he replaced Max Duggan, he hasn't done anything with the more talent than him that Max Duggan had. It hasn't been good. He turns the ball over a lot. Kurt Signetti is finding out very quickly this guy will turn the football over. He is going to cost Indiana a game,
Hmm.
maybe two this year. And look, he's played a lot of games here. He's people keep hyping him up like he's next Fernando Mendoza. I don't think he's the leader of him, and I don't think he's as accurate as Curtis Rourke. I think that's going to be problematic for Indiana. He can grow into this because I think the team's going to be really talented and he'll be well coached. But don't try to tell me that this is an A grade when this is a B grade.
No, I'm that's a really nice way to say that. I like that. And like I think especially when you compare him to the two quarterbacks that Cignetti has had at Indiana with Rourke and Mendoza, two like the biggest strength of both of those guys, or one of the biggest strengths of both of those guys, is good decision making. And like Hoover is a much more volatile proposition than either of those guys. And so like expecting him to just like, to use your phrase, like grow up a lot since dinner and like not like do something stupid with the football, that's asking a lot. Even with the coaching staff that I 100% believe in, talent around him that is high quality, better than what he had at TCU. Like I do think Josh Hoover takes steps forward. I do think Josh Hoover probably puts up pretty damn good numbers this year. But I also think, to your point, like he is also going to lose Indiana a football game at some point.
100%. We may have a lot of overlap on this. Who's too cold?
Too cold. I mean, I don't know if you have him just right or too cold, but Arch Manning's too low at 5, man.
He's too low.
Like
Yeah.
everyone is trying to overcorrect from what happened last offseason. And I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna be the one to do that. I'm all in on it again. But like, I watched the last 6 weeks of football that kid played, and he looks like the best quarterback in the country. And I'm not saying you have to have him at number one on this list because Dante Moore accomplished more than he did. And if you want to keep Dante Moore at one, I'm totally fine with that. But him not being top three is criminal because of how, like, he was playing like not just one of the best quarterbacks, but like one of the best players in the country over the final month and a half of the season.
He showed a lot last year. He improved, just like his dad, Cooper Manning, said he was going to. He's still way too reckless with his decision making
Hmm.
for me to take him number one overall next year. I would take Dante Moore over him. But if he's number one overall pick, actually, he'll probably gerrymander that so he doesn't go to the Jets. But
Yeah.
um, like
He's gotta love Miami.
he's got all, yeah. Miami's, he looks like Dan Marino with the
That's
coat on.
right.
Probably should probably get double the Wonderlic score him. Again, he loses his ID all the time, but um, I don't know. I figured I gotta believe Isidore Newman's a better school than wherever Dan Marino went to in Pittsburgh.
One has to assume. One has to assume as much.
Yeah, Arch Manning's too low on this. You mentioned it before. Gunnar Stockton at seven's insane. He should be higher than this.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm gonna remove the Georgia from this. I don't think there's a quarterback who fits his offense more hand in glove on this list anybody than Gunnar Stockton. He was born to play quarterback for Mike Bobo.
100%. And like to my point earlier, talking about Darian Mensah, this is not 2027 draft projection. Gunnar Stockton is not the prospect that some of these
No.
guys are, and I'm not pretending that he is. Is he a damn good college quarterback? Yeah, because if we're going at the end of like, okay, let's say we do this exercise middle of last season, and we're just talking the 10 best quarterbacks that we've seen. Diego Pavia is probably on that list of
Yes.
the 10 best quarter, and like God knows he's not an NFL quarterback. Like being a college quarterback, and to your point, fitting an offense that you play in and running it as well as you possibly can, which I think Pavia did a really good job of at Vanderbilt, and obviously Stockton does at Georgia as well. Like that matters. And like some of these fits, like to the conversation we were just having about Josh Hoover, we don't know how that's going to fit because he is a different type of player than what we've seen run this offense.
Also, I think Stockton, I mean, outside of Trinidad Chambliss, he's probably the most clutch player among these guys.
Hmm.
And I think
Yeah.
that that's significant, the dual threat playmaking ability. I mean, he's the closest thing guess he's had since Cam Newton. Lenore Sellers is also in that
Right.
vicinity too, but like it's a lot of fun. Um, I also think that we're a little too cold on Sam Levitt and Julian Sand, personally.
Okay, I would have Jaden Maaba as a little too cold there.
Yeah,
And Sam Levitt as well, but not so much Julian Sand.
yeah, I've got Jade Maava just right. So I think the Sam Levitt stuff, and we'll talk Maava and Sand. So Levitt's won a league.
Hmm.
Levitt's played in a playoff game. I think he might be a bit of a head case. Actually, I'm pretty sure he is.
Yeah,
Um, he's also like looks like handsome Squidward.
he really does. It's appalling, quite frankly.
But when he's catching his reflection in the back of a spoon, the third time through second grade, he's gonna be really good for LSU. but again, he's gonna like cost him some games.
Hmm. I mean, and like I honestly think this is overreaction to like last year, the injuries and like the supporting cast at Arizona State wasn't nearly as good as it was the year before. You lost Scatabo and you tried to replace him in the backfield, but you didn't have that aspect of the game before Sam Levitt got hurt, and he missed most of the year. So like I understand like maybe we're forgetting how good he was, but damn, he was really good in 2024.
He's not afraid, and I think
No.
that's a thing. So you talk about Mayava, and I'll talk about Sand, and I think we're okay with I'm okay with Dante Moore and Trinidad Chambliss being high. I think we're okay with
Yeah,
that.
they're both very good. And I don't think we have many questions about how good they are.
No,
And we've seen them play in these offenses, which also helps quite a bit. With my Alva, I just think that he is exact, like to your point about fitting the offense, I think he fits Lincoln Riley like a glove. He's someone who's experienced, who's not going to do something reckless, who's not going to try to play outside of the structure. And like, there are a lot of criticisms that can be levied across Lincoln Riley. Him having a really good offensive system that works across different leagues is not one of those things you can say about him. He knows what he's doing when it comes to offensive football. And while like I always have to come back to Caleb Williams because I think it's a very like I think it's one of the smartest points I've ever made if I'm being completely honest. But like Caleb Williams might be the most talented player that Lincoln Riley ever coached, but he is not the best fit for Lincoln Riley's offense that Lincoln Riley's ever had. What makes him so special is his ability to improvise, his ability to go out of structure. When so much of Lincoln Riley's offense is about structure, you look at guys who succeeded in it. Like the most successful guy we've seen in it is Baker Mayfield, and
yes,
Baker Mayfield's not the most like he's less physically talented than Kyler Murray. He's less physically talented than Spencer Rattler. He's less physically talented than Caleb Williams, and he ran the offense better than all of them. And I think Mailava is closer to Baker Mayfield than he is Caleb Williams and all those other guys.
there's also a blue collar kind of component to
Hmm.
him that I mean Baker grew up in Austin, but like the same like there's kind of some grime there
He
that I
talked
always kind
himself
of
into being blue collar. He's not,
yeah.
but he talked himself into it.
He slept outside for school just to kind of prove a point.
That's right.
Uh, this I haven't properly rated because like I think he's immensely talented, but like I'm kind of worried about the big game component. And
Mhm.
this is like the last time I'm going to be on USC.
Yeah,
Uh, uh,
100%.
and I guess with Julian saying for me, like the reason I feel like he may be a little too low is like 5 stars coming out of Carlsbad, California, played at Alabama or was on the roster at Alabama.
He was there.
I think that like this thing can drive itself at USC pretty much, or not
Mhm.
at Ohio State, excuse me. You get a better offensive coordinator than Arthur Smith over Brian Hartline. I think that's irrefutable.
Yeah.
Also, Matt
Ha.
Patricia is grossly overqualified to be your defensive coordinator. Ryan Day, whose son's now committed to Northwestern, we could have almost talked about that today. Imagine being able to take Ryan Day on a tour of your facilities in the same in conference.
That'd be incredible. It would be really funny.
RJ Day, of course, it's RJ.
Of course it is.
But I don't know. I feel like Sand's the only guy who's a returning Heisman finalist. You still got Jeremiah Smith here. But the reason like he wouldn't be like ahead of like Chambliss or more, I don't know. Maybe he's up there ahead of like what's his name? Darren Minsa. I don't know
Mhm.
if he's clutch. I think he kind of falls apart like a sack of potatoes, which is probably your biggest criticism of him. But like he's got a skill set that I think grows and improves very not even like linearly, but exponentially.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have a great. I'm very high on Ohio State this year, so that's up at that.
No, and you touched on both things that I was going to say, which is I do think that he gets to play on easy mode to some degree because Ohio State is as good as they are, and especially with Arthur Smith coming in and making it even easier, like having an offense that's going to be better. And can you name me one time last year where Julian Sand like elevated the Ohio State Buckeyes, or was it someone else?
Probably right.
And like that's just where I'm coming from. Like he's easily a top 10 quarterback in the sport. I'm not trying to like say he's like, but like I'm closer to too hot than I am just right. I would say that. So like I just think that like I think he's probably a top 6 to 7 quarterback as opposed to a top 4 for me.
I'm okay with that. But you know about him, he's got baked in energy coursing through his veins. You know who else does? Matt Campbell
Damn right.
and Joel Klatt. Joel Klatt was gassing up Matt Campbell on his podcast. Said some really salient points. I think the big thing is we're pretty bullish. We're buying Penn State. I don't think they're going to be on the same level as like USC or Michigan, but like if they're right there, they could be good. Rocco Becht could have made this list over a few of these guys.
Yeah, specifically John Mateer, no question about
Yes,
that. Yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot. I mean, like, there's a lot of reasons to trust Matt Campbell. I mean, just point blank, period. Like, when they made the hire before the roster was set and everything like that, like, Matt Campbell has had, like, we don't look at it that way because he's been there as long as he has been, but he has one of the hardest jobs in the country, and he's been consistently, like, at near the top of the conference at that job, which is no small feat. And now he's had a job where yes, the pressure is higher. Yes, the notoriety and like expectations are bigger, but you also have more resources. You also have the ability to not play this on expert mode anymore and actually be able to like accomplish something. And like, we don't fully know what that's going to look like, but like everything he's done to this point deserves gassing up. Like, and like Penn State fans do need to hear, like, yeah, I know he might not be the sexiest name that you possibly could have gotten to Happy Valley, but he might be one of the best names that you could have gotten there.
dude. When we were in college, Iowa State was like bottom tier
Dog water, dude.
in
Dog
the
water.
Big 12. Like Kansas and them were like and then Baylor for a minute there for
Hmm.
RG3 got to go was really bad too.
A hundred
Like
percent.
that, and then so Joel Klatt said that they hired him away from Iowa State. They hired Matt Campbell away from Iowa State to win the big games that James Franklin never could. Well, there's not a lot of big games on Penn State's schedule. The chances of them going
Right.
9-3 are pretty high. You play like Michigan, Washington, and like USC or something.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean
Um,
it we'll see. Like I assume that they're talking about next year. The year like for me when I look at Penn State and why I do think that like it's probably smart to go on a media tour getting gassed up by Joel Klatt right now. Um, I think that the ceiling is very limited for this Penn State team. But I do think it's with Matt Campbell and with the like a lot of the Iowa State transfers that they brought in, Rocco Becht included, but among others, like I think they brought in like 39 transfers from Iowa State, so it's a lot. But like I think the floor is extremely high. And so like you're going to finish in like the bottom of the upper tier or the top of the middle tier of the Big Ten. Like you are pretty much locked into there for me. But I think that moving forward, when the schedule looks a little different, when you're able to use the resources at Penn State to recruit, and you've obviously been good at identifying and developing talent at this point from what you did at Iowa State, I think that's when you start to talk about the big games and what could be next for Matt Campbell.
yeah, he's getting phenomenal resources. He's going from like one of the few Power Four schools that doesn't have a baseball program, like
Right.
to Penn State, where there's money to be had here. It's like I know it's Iowa State East, but you know what program we don't talk about anymore? We don't talk about Iowa State. We think Jimmy Rogers is like a going to be a good head coach coming from South Dakota State, but and from Washington State, like this is a
It's gonna take a
he's
minute, brother.
it's going
It's
to take
gonna
a
take a
minute.
minute.
But Rocco Beck's probably got more starts than anybody in the Power Four right now coming over from Iowa State.
Yeah.
And people's like saying, "Oh, it's Iowa State." Like, well, this Iowa State was a consistently a top four team in the Big 12.
Hmm.
And
I mean, I will say, like, I think like the Big Ten is a better league than the Big 12, so like that should be considered. But like, yeah, again, I still think the floor is quite high.
100%. I'm trying to think what else. Did you know that he was like roommates with Nick Sirianni at Mount Union?
Had no idea. Wild stuff there. Can't
So
imagine what that was like.
I think the age gap's about the same between you and I. So I would be Matt Campbell and you would be Nick Sirianni.
Gee, never call me Nick Sirianni again. Never do that.
No, Nick Sirianni, I feel like he's trying to play Bradley Cooper in Silver Lining Playbook. And basically to do that, you just have to huff like paint in a sock like you're Charlie Kelly.
Just saying that movie is about mental illness, and that's I'm just gonna leave it
It
there.
is just he's going a million miles an hour and everything like that. Also, Matt Campbell was born to wear a dad hat.
Oh, 100%, dude. That bill's got to be curved.
The U
That's right.
C W. Oh man. But yeah, I think Pitt State's one of those programs. There's a lot of that's the reason I don't really respect the Big Ten too much right now. I should, but I don't. Like, you got a bunch of just fat in the middle of your belly.
You do.
Like you got like you got just like you got Iowa, you got Nebraska, you got Minnesota. just a hot dish.
The Big Ten is one of those leagues where there's a lot of teams you could talk yourself into, and they never happen. It's always
Yeah,
the same teams like doing stuff.
pretty pretty much. And it's always the same sort of teams doing stuff here at the ICC. We're going to move on to our penultimate topic here with some Du Hast.
Mhm.
Paul Feinbaum went on Crane and Cone, and he was firing out some hot takes.
I love it.
Uh,
I love off-season Paul.
so I think Blaine Crane asked him like, "Who's the most underrated head coach in the SEC?" Which he said was Mike Elko.
Mm, fair, very fair.
Fair. And he said the most overrated was Josh Heupel, which kind of caught me off guard. I'm like, you're really going there with your fellow Tennessee brethren, but he did.
He listen. If one thing Paul Feinbaum is not, it is afraid, and he's not afraid to go after the Vols here and there, man.
No,
And go. Sorry, I don't even think you've asked the Du Hast question.
no, I did not. My tabs went to the other screen. That scared the hell out of me. But on that note, Du Hast, have we seen the best out of Josh Heupel leading Tennessee?
I'll let you answer first, Bueller, because I think I know your answer, and I'm trying to decide if I want to play devil's advocate or not.
I'm gonna go Du Hast two S's. I don't think it
Ooh,
is
okay, okay.
because we know he can coach. We know he can elevate the floor. I think he's more than just being the late Flip Saunders and Doug Collins of college football.
Okay.
I think he can do. He's like, yeah, we're to come in here and get the poo off the wall, get back to being humans again. Um, but he's got to figure out his offense. His offense is just gimmicky, air raid shtick. Anybody who has a pulse, who knows anything about defense in the SEC, figures it out in an instant. I think that he's gonna have to figure this out because if he doesn't, Jimmy Haslam's gonna fire him.
Hmm.
But I think the biggest reason why it will, I'm not high on Tennessee this year. I think when you have a rock star defensive coordinator, whether that be Tim Banks a couple years ago, whether that's Jim Knowles now, whether
Yeah.
it's whoever, John Chavis or somebody else down the line, like you've got a DC that people respect,
Yeah.
that raises your floor where you can take risks. Like, you know what, receivers, come here. This is called a route tree.
This is a tree. You're gonna learn it. Photosynthesis. So, all right, I don't have to play devil's advocate here, and I can go with my heart and go do Host 1S. And I do want to be clear, like I'm not a believer in Tennessee this year. We've discussed that at length throughout the offseason already. We will probably discuss it again. Regardless, I'm not a big believer in Tennessee this year. But having said that, I do think that having seen the best and seeing it again, two different things. I think we could see Tennessee make the playoff again. I'm not ruling that out. Like I'm not saying that they're never going back to the college football playoff. Do I think that they're ever going to win a national championship under Josh Heupel, no matter who his defensive coordinator is? I don't. And do I think that they're ever going to make a playoff run? That's hard for me to believe, honestly, because of all the points that you were just talking about. Yeah, the SEC can figure out this air raid. So can the Big 12. The Big 12 sees it 6 times a year. So can the Big 10. The Big 10 is probably a just as good defensive conference as the SEC to be able to figure this out. And I would argue that a lot of the coordinator talent in the Big 10 is just as good as it is in the SEC as well. So like the more I look at this, I just don't see like I think a first round playoff berth is kind of what Tennessee's ceiling is under Josh Heupel. And since we've already seen that, then yeah, we might see it again, but we've already seen the best because I think that's as good as it's going to get.
It's like you can get good defensive minds there. I think you run the football strong. I don't
Mhm.
deny that with them. This is like look at Riley. They always run the football well.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a personality, him not caring about defense. Hypo clearly cares about defense,
Right.
but like receivers, he's like, I can't be where I can see you.
Right. No, and I will say the one thing that I do think could prove me wrong is if they end up going with one of the young kids in this quarterback battle this offseason and like you actually start developing a guy in this system, I think that could be something like if George McIntyre hits on his potential and like really develops in this system and you kind of take this year as a wash year to some degree to set up for 2027, then I could start to talk myself into maybe there is a bit of a higher ceiling because you look at the court like Hendon Hooker is a good player. Hendon Hooker was not like a special talent. Like I don't know why we get this in our heads. Like there's a reason he's not doing anything in the NFL. Like he's being passed around like a baton in the NFL as a third round pick. And like I think that McIntyre has far more potential than like you hope that Nico would be that guy, but he wasn't really a fit for the system. Now you're getting someone who's going to get more experience, more time in the system, and if that works out, then that does raise the ceiling and could prove me wrong in this.
I mean, if he wasn't old as shit, Joey Aguilar would have figured it out. He figured it out pretty
Yeah,
don't but he was also like renting cars at this point.
100%. Yeah, he was Joey Aguilar Chevrolet is thriving.
Oh, I don't know. What's that? Clovis, New Mexico, Joey Aguilar
That's
Chevrolet.
right.
All right. And let's move on to our final topic of the day with some 4 for 4 Paula Finch, satin kimonos.
Yes, sir.
What team in each Power Four league are we not really buying into heading into this fall? Just teams were like, I don't see it. I've got two for each. You probably got one. Let's do this. And I got to go bring some groceries in a wagon.
100%, dude. So I've got one for each. Start with the ACC, I'm assuming, as we normally do in alphabetical order. I've got Pitt. I think Mason Heichel's a fun, really good quarterback, and I think he's going to have some moments this season. He might even pull off some upsets, but I think they're like the fourth or fifth favorite in the ACC, and that's a bit rich for my blood. And if there's one thing that we know about Pat Narduzzi, it's that expectations aren't exactly what he does well, and I think he probably falls a little short of them this year.
I'm pretty sure every time you say the word expectations to him, he just spits on the floor.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
He's about as useful as the people who work at the Ace Hardware over there.
That's right. They are not the helpful hardware folk.
Science is like, please don't make fun of our employees. I'm like, your employees are worthless.
I'm not making fun of them. I'm putting them down. There's a difference.
People rave about this one, and I'm like, dude, they tried to sell my fiance a broken wagon.
Damn it. That's unacceptable.
Oh, and the Mountain Dew I got out of their fridge was like expiring the next day. uh,
That's honestly surprising. You would think the Ace Hardware Mountain Dew, as someone who likes Mountain Dew, this is not derogatory, but the Ace Hardware Mountain Dew community might be thriving.
I would hope so, man. It's a weird time to be alive. First one for me for the ACC, Cal.
Fair. Very fair.
I love me some JKS. This is a fun team. This is a team that's integrated itself pretty nicely into the ACC. Both are better off for it. They're a more fun team. The ACC is a more fun conference with them in there. My concern is Tosh Lapoy being a first-time head coach. This may be alma mater. He favors the defensive side of the ball. He may really, really want this, but I think Justin Wilcox covered up a lot of stuff. It just took a lot of bullets for people that he didn't need to. So the thing with Cal for me is like Cal's every bit capable of beating everybody in this league. And then they could lose to Boston College.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And like also to your point with Tosh Lapointe, not only is he a first-time head coach in his first year, but like when have we ever seen like a process move like quickly at Cal? Like I don't think this is something that's going to be solved in year one, man.
No. And then also I'm kind of trending down on Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
I think the downgrade from Aaron Philo to Alberto Mendoza is going to be significant, just like the downgrade from Buster Faulkner. George Godsey is going to be significant. Also, Jay Batt doesn't work there anymore. He works in Michigan State. So you lost a really good athletic director. And every time that happens, Georgia Tech, it ain't good.
No, I think the Buster Faulkner loss is the one that really gets me.
Brent Key will never admit this. There will be a point this year where he's like, I should have left and taken the Auburn job.
You're probably right. I mean, I still think he's a good coach, and I think he would probably get job offers next offseason anyway.
Yeah. All right, Big Ten.
Big Ten. So I chose my words very carefully when we were talking about Matt Campbell because it's Penn State for me. Again, I think that their floor is high. The fact that they're like being considered in the upper crust of the Big Ten doesn't really work for me. I think Iowa State. Like I think Rocco Becht is a lot of lipstick on a pig with that Iowa State roster and a lot of the transfers that they brought in.
Hey Rocco,
yeah. Like I think that's what we're looking at here, man. And like I don't think Penn State's going to be bad. Like I think they're probably a 7-5, 8-4 team, but like you look at their schedule and like there's not a lot of big games. I don't think this team is good enough to win big games, and I think they're like mediocre enough to lose some like toss-up games.
I think some of the hype that they're getting should go to Washington, personally.
Agreed, 100%. I'm much higher on Washington than I am Penn State at this point.
And I'm going to be mean with mine. I think it's going to be a really bad year in the southeastern corner of Iowa. It's going to be they have the worst quarterback situation.
bad.
And follow me on this. It probably won't happen. And I do this occasionally. Like a couple of years ago, I said BYU was going to go 4-8. They went 9-3.
Mhm.
Said Pitt was going to go 4-8. They won 10 games. This happens.
It happens to the best of us, brother.
There's a non-zero chance Iowa goes 4-8 or 5-7. And
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure LeVar Woods is now on Pat Fitzgerald's staff at Michigan State, if I'm not mistaken.
That sounds right. I'm 90% sure he is not at Iowa.
So, and this is a guy who played for Hayden Fry. This is like your guy, handpicked successor, whenever this day comes. Beth Getz, who fired your son, may have to fire you. Also, let's not forget the fact that Ben McCollum came in year effing one. It took Iowa to the Elite Eight for the first time since we've had internet in the world. Um, with a transfer portal roster, it's like, why do we need to keep just messing with just perpetual schlock here? And I will say this: Kirk Ferentz is a legend of this coaching profession. He should be able to go out on his own terms, but people like him, they don't do that. They just lust for power. I will tell you this much: under Kirk Ferentz, they will never make the playoff.
Hmm. I agree.
If you gave Brett Bielema this job, they make it in year two.
Yeah, maybe you're one, brother. I'm not even kidding. I'm right there with you. And you've also got to think like you're talking about Ben McCollum coming in for someone who not as much so as Kirk Ferentz, but someone who was like pretty associated like heavily with Iowa basketball and Trey McCaffrey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
After seeing the results of that change, do you not think that there's a little more heat on Kirk Ferentz after that? And this is a bad offense. Like this is worse than Brian potential.
Like you can't make Tim Lester eat this. It's like you're expecting me to make a Michelin star meal when I've got like Bud sprouted potatoes in the back of the cabinet, man.
And no seasoning, just the potatoes.
Yeah, and then I'm not high on Nebraska at all this year. I think Anthony Calandria makes them fun.
Mhm.
I think people in Lincoln are going to get sick of Matt Rhule. I think this is there's going to be, not saying like they're going to pull a plug on him like they did with James Franklin, but like this he's going to enter 2027 the hot seat.
I wonder if he starts poking around other
He
jobs
might.
because that's kind of where I'm feeling. Because we're not hearing a lot of stuff like coming out of Nebraska outside of fans are obviously putting pressure on Rule in this team, but like we're not hearing a lot from the administration about like any kind of uncertainty or whatever. Um, I think this situation gets pretty ugly by the end of this year.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe he was a Trev Alberts hire and not a Troy Dannon hire.
Correct. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that like Trev Alberts like left a year after making the decision, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Troy Dannon was in Washington for 5 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, the fact that Fred Hoiberg's having tremendous success in the hardwood, like again,
Hmm.
that puts pressure on Nebraska. It's like figure it out.
We're trying to do something, anything.
All right, Big 12. Who are you not high on?
This probably pains you because I know you like the hire. Kansas State. I can't get there, brother.
I have them on there
Okay,
too.
good. And like this is nothing against the new coaching regime coming in there. It's to me, it's honestly Avery Johnson. Like I'm done with it. I just don't see it. I don't think it's happening.
Yeah, I'm gonna be meeting together too. Uh, Avery Johnson, the teeny bopper extraordinaire, basically said Chris Kleinman's like, you know what? I'd rather retire than coach you.
Right.
And if there's anybody out there in the world who's less confrontational than me, it's Colin Klein.
Yeah. I mean, if he tries to get Avery Johnson to play like Colin Klein played, Avery Johnson will die. Like, there's no doubt about it.
A&M's going to be better without Colin Klein.
Yeah,
I think
100%.
Holman Wiggins is going to be like, okay, Marcel, just you're only doing three things on this play. One of them is running, and the other one's falling down. So you're throwing it to this guy or nothing. Like that's all we're doing. Although I think Marcel Reed's a smart dude. So like
Yeah, no.
but like it's Colin Klein's going to kind of be addition by subtraction for Texas A&M, and then going to K-State, the sentimental hire. There's a non-zero chance this is Scott Frost, man.
That's it's not unfair. Not unfair.
Uh, I would not be surprised. I don't. I'm dubious on K-State even making a bowl game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a world where this goes really poorly.
Yeah. And I'm fading my Utah stock too. I think that the coup to move on from Kyle
Yeah.
Whittingham to bring in Morgan Scalley, that ain't great. And I think with the Big 12 just being jam-packed, every little slight, every little nook, cranny, crevice matters. And I think this costs you potentially your shot at getting to Arlington. Devin Dampier is going to be great. And then
Yeah.
that's fine. But like this is how Arizona gets past you.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, Devin Dampier can be good, and that we've seen a lot of college quarterbacks be good, be fun to watch, and their team goes 6-6. So
Hell yeah. And speaking of 6-6, who might go 6-6 in the SEC?
you're damn right, it's the Alabama Crimson Tide. I mean, I don't need to unpack this and belabor this point. Like, I just don't think this team is that good. I don't think that they have. I don't think that this is a team that has national championship aspirations, which it's Alabama, so that's disappointing.
I'm higher on them than you. Uh,
Yeah,
my belief is like Kalen DeBoer is going to get the quarterback right. I don't know if they can run the ball at all. Defensively, they'll be fine. I think they've got a navigable schedule, but it's like this is going to be one of those teams. If they make the playoff, they're going to lose right away.
it's like I think best case scenario for this Alabama team is what we just saw, where
You
you win the 9-8 game,
you've become Mark Rick, Georgia.
which if you're Alabama, like fans are going to be pissed at that. And like
That's
I'm trying to come at this from like an Alabama fan perspective, like and like using objective eyes to look at this team and look at the coaching and look at what I see, and then add Alabama fan expectations to this, and like those two things just do not jive with me.
no man. Like you're going to lose a couple conference games. You'll lose SEC championship, lose the playoff. That's what happens.
It's not what you
So
want.
no, it's not what you want. And I don't think it's what you want across the entire state of Tennessee. I'm really down on Tennessee and Vanderbilt.
Yeah, we don't need to belabor Tennessee and put them down further, I don't think.
I mean, what if it's not George McIntyre? You're hoping that's Faison Brandon. He might be something, but he's really young.
Hmm.
And then Ryan Staub's
If
more of
it's
an
Ryan
idea.
Staub, I'm gonna blow a gasket on this program, dude.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
gonna lose it.
And then with Vanderbilt, when you've had your best year in a century, you're not gonna be having that again.
Right.
Um, Jerry Curtis is not ready for this. Uh,
No. I think he's
uh,
gonna be like if you're especially if you're Vanderbilt, I think you're fully justified in like letting him go out there as a true freshman and get his lumps. Like I think that's the smart way to do this to like get past that now. So hopefully you arrive back in like some level of prominence. But he's going to be like we saw it last year with someone who I think is more talented like athletically than Jared Curtis, Bryce Underwood. Bryce Underwood got into the lights of the Big Ten, and in a lot of those big games, he did not look like the all-world recruit that he was supposed to be. What the
no,
hell do you
sir.
think is going to happen to a dude who doesn't have the same level of athleticism and playing in the SEC?
No, sir. I guess the other thing that's my thought with this with Vanderbilt, it's like under Clarkley, maybe you're a slightly better version of what peak Pat Fitzgerald Northwestern is. We're like every 3 years you got a team.
Yeah,
The other 2 years, one year not making a bowl, another year you're kind of
you're playing in like the you're playing in like Birmingham, Alabama for your bowl game.
you are you're gonna worship the Roman god Vulcan's ass. It is
You're playing in one of the 30 Alabama bowl games. Like there's so many. It's just like pick a city in Alabama, they got a bowl game.
they absolutely do. And on that note, this was what the hell, episode 273 of False Start. There we go. You can follow me, John Buhler, on Twitter or the X at Buhler118. You can follow Cody Williams at the Sizzle20. You can follow the show at CFB False Start. Like, rate, listen, subscribe, review on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere there's podcasts. Give us a 5-star review. That's how old Julian McGrath Garrity was during Big Daddy.
That's right. One of the Sprouse twins at some point.
Yeah, I know. That movie is pretty good. I don't know if it's great. It's a top tier Adam Sandler movie, or it's a tier two Adam Sandler movie.
100%. One of the for whatever reason, one of the first things I think of now when I think Big Daddy is someone was trying to describe Manchester by the Sea to me, and they were like, imagine if Big Daddy wasn't funny at all. And I was like, oh my God.
Um, you know, it just shows how much harder we have it in life now. Like Sonny Koufax is like working like one day at a toll booth. He's filed for Social Security at 30. So, Manhattan apartment that's like 3 times the size of my apartment.
You just got to get hit by a taxi. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, I know that's what it comes down to, man. Um, uh,
I used to have a buddy in college my freshman year who whenever we like go through a crosswalk, like everyone's stopping, making sure cars are stopping, he'd be on his bike and he'd never look either way. And I like one time I asked him, I was like, uh, shout out Jamie if you happen to be listening. I was like,
Shout out
Jamie,
Jamie.
yeah, I was like, Jamie, yeah, I was like, why don't you stop in the crosswalk? And he goes, try and get that insurance money, dude. I'm in the crosswalk. I'll be fine.
But be sure to hold our hand when we go across the crosswalk because this is false start.